Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans over 40 are either overweight or struggling with stubborn belly fat? And here's what most people don't realize. After 40, your body quietly rewrites the rule book. What used to work in your 20s, skipping a meal, jogging a little more, barely makes a difference now. I'll give you an example. A man I know, 55 years old, father of 3, told me, "Doc, I eat less than ever. I even cut out breakfast, but my belly just keeps growing. I feel like my body is broken." And maybe you've felt the same. You try harder, yet the fat seems to hold on tighter. Here's the shocking truth. It's not about willpower. It's about biology. Hormones shift, metabolism slows, muscle declines, and stress runs higher, making fat storage almost effortless, especially around the belly. But here's the good news. Once you understand these changes, you can stop fighting your body and start working with it. And in today's video, I'll show you the exact steps to do that, starting with the wake-up call every man and woman over 40 needs to hear. Why losing fat after 40 feels different. When you cross 40, your body quietly changes in ways most people don't notice until they step on the scale or struggle to button their pants. A man once told me, "Doc, I eat less than I did in my 30s, but somehow I'm gaining weight faster." And he was right. It wasn't just his imagination. After 40, metabolism naturally slows, muscle mass gradually declines, and hormones shift to make fat easier to store, especially around the belly. Think of it this way. In your 20s, you could skip a meal, go for a jog, and instantly see the scale drop. But now, those same tricks barely make a dent. Instead, you feel tired, hungry, and frustrated. Many people double down, trying stricter diets or more intense workouts, only to discover they're losing energy and muscle while that stubborn belly fat stays put. The real wake-up call is this: the game has changed. You don't lose weight after 40 with the same rulebook you used at 25. But here's the good news. Once you understand how your body works, you can finally stop fighting it and start working with it. And that begins with spotting the obvious offenders quietly holding you back. Spotting the obvious offenders. The first step in losing fat after 40 is not chasing the perfect diet plan. It's about spotting the obvious offenders in your daily life. And the truth is, most of us already know what they are. Maybe that glass of wine somehow turns into 2 every night. Or the little treat before bed that ends up half a pint of ice cream. These aren't mysteries. They're habits we quietly excuse even though we know they hold us back. I remember a 55-year-old patient who swore to eat healthy all day, but she sat down with a bag of light popcorn every evening while watching TV. She didn't think it counted because it was labeled low fat, but night after night, it added up. And when she swapped that habit for a cup of tea, her waistline shrank within weeks. The lesson here is simple. Don't underestimate the power of removing just 1 or 2 obvious offenders. At this stage of life, small changes can create surprisingly significant results. You don't have to overhaul your entire lifestyle overnight. You need to start with the habits you already know are slowing you down. And once you've taken that first step, it's time to shine a light on the hidden enemies many people mistake for healthy foods. The hidden enemies in your kitchen. Once you've cleared out the obvious offenders, the next challenge is trickier. The hidden enemies sitting quietly in your own kitchen. These foods we've been told are healthy, yet they quietly work against us, especially after 40. Think about the flavored oatmeal packets that seem wholesome but are loaded with brown sugar. Or the fruit-on-the-bottom yogurts that deliver more sugar than a can of soda. Even healthy granola bars can be nothing more than candy bars dressed up with better marketing. I'll never forget a patient in her late 40s who proudly ate a fitness cereal every morning. She thought it was fueling her workouts, but when we looked at the label together, each bowl carried nearly 40 grams of sugar, more than she should have had all day. Switching to plain Greek yogurt with fresh berries gave her more protein and far less sugar. And within a few months, her energy improved and her waistline followed. The insight here is powerful. It's not always about eating less, but smarter. The foods we think are helping may, in fact, be slowing us down. Once you learn to spot these hidden enemies, you regain control of your body. And the fastest way to do that is to master a straightforward skill: reading a nutrition label correctly. How to read a nutrition label like a pro. Here's a simple truth. The front of the package is marketing, but the back of the package, the nutrition label, is where the truth hides. And learning how to read it could be the most significant skill that protects your health after 40. The first number I always tell my patients to check is sugar. Many healthy yogurts, cereals, or snack bars carry 20 grams of sugar or more per serving, equal to 5 teaspoons before you've even started your day. The second number is protein. Does this food help me feel full and protect my muscles, or is it just empty calories? For most people over 40, aiming for 15 to 20 grams of protein per meal is a game changer. The third number is fat, not because fat is bad, but because it's calorie dense. 9 calories per gram compared to 4 in carbs or protein means those handfuls of nuts or cheese slices add up quickly. One patient once compared 2 yogurts with me. Yogurt A had 18 grams of protein and 6 grams of sugar. Yogurt B had 20 grams of sugar and just 6 grams of protein. Same calories, totally different outcomes. One kept her full for hours, the other left her hungry and craving more. The insight is clear. When you learn to read a label, you stop being fooled by clever packaging. You start choosing foods that genuinely work for your body. And once you put protein first, everything about fat loss and energy gets easier. That's precisely where we're heading next. The protein-first strategy that keeps you lean. If there's one nutrition habit that changes everything after 40, it's this: put protein first. Protein isn't just for bodybuilders. It's the nutrient that keeps you full, protects your muscles, and helps you burn more calories even at rest. As we age, we naturally lose muscle mass. And without enough protein, weight loss often means muscle loss, leaving us weaker instead of leaner. I once worked with a 60-year-old man who had tried cutting calories by mainly eating salads and crackers. Yes, he lost some weight, but also strength and energy. His progress changed completely when we adjusted his meals to include at least 20 grams of protein, like eggs for breakfast, grilled chicken or salmon for lunch, and lean steak or beans for dinner. Not only did he lose fat, but he felt stronger and more alive than he had in years. The key insight is this: calories matter, but the type of calories matters more. A 400-calorie plate of chicken and vegetables works very differently in your body than a 400-calorie plate of pasta. Protein helps control hunger, keeps your metabolism active, and supports a body that looks lean and feels powerful. Once protein becomes the foundation of every meal, fat loss no longer feels like punishment. It feels sustainable. And now that we've talked about what helps you lean out, let's tackle the #1 frustration I hear from patients: the stubborn belly pouch that won't go away. The belly fat battle. Why the pouch is so stubborn. If there's one question I hear over and over from people over 40, it's this: why can I be lean everywhere else but still carry this pouch of fat right under my belly button? And the answer is both simple and frustrating, because that's just how the body works. For most men, the belly is the first place fat goes on and the last place it comes off. For women, it often shows up in the lower abdomen and hips. I once worked with a 58-year-old woman who could see muscle definition in her arms and shoulders, yet she was still unhappy with the small pouch around her waist. She thought doing more sit-ups would fix it, but the truth is, you can't spot-reduce fat. Sit-ups will strengthen the muscle, but won't burn the fat sitting on top. What finally helped her was dialing in her nutrition a little tighter and adding daily walks after dinner. Within a few months, that stubborn pouch had noticeably shrunk. Not because of endless ab exercises, but because she changed her approach. The lesson here is clear. Belly fat is often the last to leave, but it will go with time, consistency, and patience. Don't let a small pouch make you forget the bigger picture. Losing fat everywhere else means your body is already getting healthier. And one of the biggest keys to making that progress faster is managing how you sleep and handle stress. Let's dive into that next. Sleep, stress, and the timing of your meals. Here's something many people overlook. Fat loss isn't only about food and exercise. Sleep, stress, and even the timing of your meals can make or break your progress after 40. When you eat a big dinner late at night, your body doesn't truly rest. It spends the night digesting instead of repairing. That's why so many people wake up groggy, with higher cravings and stubborn weight that won't budge. I had a 60-year-old patient who always ate his heaviest meal at 10 p.m. He thought as long as his calories were under control, it didn't matter. But his sleep tracker told a different story. His heart rate stayed elevated all night, and he never reached deep sleep. Once he shifted his dinner 2 hours earlier and swapped his late-night snack for herbal tea, his sleep improved, his cravings dropped, and within 3 months, he lost nearly 10 pounds without changing anything else. The bigger lesson is this: your body is not a machine that runs only on calories. Stress hormones like cortisol rise when you're under pressure or not sleeping well, signaling your body to hold on to fat. By respecting your body's natural rhythm, eating earlier, winding down before bed, managing stress, you give yourself the best chance to burn fat, not store it. And now, with these foundations in place, the final question remains: how lean do you really want to be? And what level of sacrifice feels worth it to you? The real question: how lean do you really want to be? At some point in the journey, the question becomes less about, can I lose fat? And more about, how lean do I truly want to be? Many men and women over 40 chase the idea of a flat stomach or visible abs. But the truth is, at 10 to 12% body fat for men, or 18 to 20% for women, you already look amazing. You're healthier than most of your peers, your energy is higher, and your risk of chronic disease drops significantly. Going lower than that is possible, but it requires sacrifices most people don't realize until they're in the middle of it. I think of a 57-year-old man who once told me, "I just want to feel strong enough to play basketball with my grandson, not walk around with shredded abs." For him, stopping at a maintainable level of leanness was the real victory. He felt confident, active, and free, without giving up family dinners or every social event. The lesson is this: being lean should serve your life, not control it. If pursuing the perfect body steals your joy, health, or connection with loved ones, it's not worth the trade. Instead, aim for balance where you look good, feel strong, and still enjoy living. And in our following conversation, we'll explore a hidden factor that often decides whether you succeed or stay stuck: insulin resistance, and how it can silently block fat loss after 40. So, let's take a moment to bring everything together. We've talked about spotting the obvious offenders, uncovering hidden enemies in your kitchen, reading labels like a pro, why protein is your best ally, how to finally deal with stubborn belly fat, and why sleep and stress quietly shape your results. Now, here's what I want you to do. Don't just watch, take action. Comment below and tell me which habit you will change this week. Maybe it's cutting that nightly dessert. Maybe it's moving dinner earlier. Or perhaps it's adding protein to breakfast. I'll pin a reply with simple